Hi everybody, welcome into another week of BluNation. I'm your host, Noah Schwartz, and it's time to recap all of this week's biggest sports headlines, both with the Blue Golds and elsewhere. Let's get started. The Blue Gold softball team opened up their WIAC schedule last week, taking on UW La Crosse and UW Platteville in a pair of doubleheaders. In the first game of the first set, Eau Claire and La Crosse were tied at 4 with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning, that is, until the Blue Gold bats awoke. The team pushed 4 runs across the plate in the 7th inning, including a 3-run homer by senior Ellie Decker, which sent Eau Claire on the way to an 8-4 win. In the second game, things were again tied in the 7th inning, but this time it wouldn't work out for the Blue Golds as La Crosse hit a 2-run home run to walk off with the 5-3 win. The next day, their doubleheader against UW Platteville, things didn't get much better for the Blue Golds as they squandered a 4-run lead to lose game 1 5-4, and then went on to drop game 2 of the doubleheader by an identical score. Easy for me to say. The Blue Golds' record now stands at 15-7, and they'll take to the field again on Thursday at UW River Falls. The Blue Gold baseball team was in action too this week, although not quite as scheduled. Friday's doubleheader against the UW Platteville Pioneers was canceled due to snow, and Saturday's doubleheader was moved to Platteville. In the doubleheader, sophomore third baseman and Eau Claire native Ryan Venny homered in both games, but it wasn't enough in either matchup as they dropped both games of the twin bill 5-3 and 6-1. The 7-15 Blue Golds are in action as we speak, facing off right now in another doubleheader against UW Oshkosh, and we'll bring you that result next week. Moving on to pro sports now, the NBA has fined Kyrie Irving $50,000 for repeatedly giving the middle finger to fans in Boston on Sunday. Cameras caught Irving giving the Celtics fans the one-finger salute twice as a response for their animosity towards him. The Celtics went on to beat Irving's Nets 116-115 in Game 1. Cincinnati Reds president Phil Castellini is walking back comments he made on a local sports radio interview before opening day. When asked about his response to fan criticisms of player personnel moves this offseason, Castellini said, quote, "Where are you going to go?" and then threatened to move the team out of Cincinnati. Naturally, the comment raised eyebrows, especially since the Reds have played in Cincinnati since 1881. Castellini later apologized for his remarks, saying, quote, "I apologize to Reds fans and regret the comments that I made earlier Tuesday. We love this city, we love this team, and we love our fans. I understand how our fans feel, and I'm sorry." The Reds' record sits at 2-9, which is the worst in Major League Baseball. Elsewhere in the majors, Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kurdstraw made headlines during his start on Wednesday for throwing 7 perfect innings before being removed from the game. The 34-year-old Kershaw had thrown just 80 pitches in the outing, but Dodgers manager Dave Roberts decided to pull him anyway, citing injury. The future Hall of Famer has a no-hitter, a World Series ring, an NL Cy Young Award, and an NL MVP on his resume, but not a perfect game. Had he stayed on the mound and completed it, it would have been the first perfect game in the majors since Felix Hernandez threw his in 2012. Kershaw defended the decision after the game, citing conditioning issues related to the MLB lockout. And from a perfect game to something even rarer now, the New York Yankees pitcher Nestor Cortes threw an immaculate inning. Cortes struck out 3 Baltimore Orioles batters on 9 straight pitches in the 4th inning as part of his 12 strikeout performance on Sunday. For context, there have been 314 no-hitters thrown in MLB history, but only 106 immaculate innings. Despite the great performance, the Yankees bullpen blew it, and the Orioles won the game 5-0, giving Cortes a no decision. In football news, the USFL is back. The league is a reboot of another spring league that lasted for a few seasons back in the mid-'80s. It features 8 teams playing a 10-game schedule, all from Birmingham, Alabama. In the first weekend of play, the Birmingham Stallions beat the New Jersey Generals 28-24. The Houston Gamblers beat the Michigan Panthers 17-12. The New Orleans Breakers beat the Philadelphia Stars 23-17, and the Tampa Bay Bandits trounced the Pittsburgh Maulers 17-3. And hey, speaking of those Pittsburgh Maulers, they're the focus of the young league's first ever scandal. That's right, they've played 1 week of football and they're already making headlines for all the wrong reasons. The Maulers made headlines after apparently cutting running back Davion Smith because he chose to eat a slice of pizza rather than chicken salad. Fans quickly came to Smith's aid, and rightly so, because that's the dumbest reason that anyone has ever lost their job. Realizing this, the team quickly released a statement saying that Smith was instead released for breaking team rules on 3 separate occasions, which Smith has denied. What does this mean? Who cares? We all know that the league's going to fold in 3 weeks from now anyways. Well, that does it for this week's headlines. Now it's time for the return of a long-time favorite segment on this program. It's time for Debate Desk. Now, just like the rest of the show, we've revamped it and taken a new approach. What's different? Well, we've done away with the timer and with deciding a winner. Instead, we're just going to argue back and forth and let you, the viewers, decide who's right for yourselves. Think less high school debate team and more ESPN's First Take. So, please join me in welcoming to the show TV10's own production director, Mr. Joel Conte. Joel, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, Noah. How are you?
I'm doing great. So it's great to have you here on this first edition of the revamped Debate Desk.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to get down to it. Now, I'm sure that you're wondering what we're about to debate, and, well, we're going to tell you. The question at hand is, do Aaron Rodgers' off-the-field antics detract from his on-the-field greatness? Joel Conte, I'll let you start off.
Yes. Okay. So, right now, in this conversation, what we are talking about is whether or not we are going to respect the fact that Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, over the fact that he has blatant disregard for NFL protocols and is setting a very bad example for the rest of pretty much anybody that watches football.
Right.
The opinion that I have about this entire thing is that, first off, it's just really stupid on the side of Aaron Rodgers himself. It makes sense. It's just really selfish and not a very good character trait to have when you are literally the best quarterback in the league. And my big problem with it is, A, he lied to the media about it, and B, I don't know how this happened or why it happened, but according to some research that I did prior, the NFL did know that Aaron Rodgers wasn't vaccinated. They, however, didn't really say anything. They just kind of left it. They said, all right, man, you know, whatever. And because of that, Aaron Rodgers was still allowed to pretty much do whatever he wanted to do. He still produced commercials. He still made contracts and made deals. And he made money off of a lot of things that the NFL said you couldn't legally do according to the NFL's rules.
Yeah.
And just all of these things in combination, first off, like I said earlier, a terrible example, especially for all the little kids that are trying to find their idol in their football careers. You know, everybody has that. For a lot of people, it was probably Tom Brady. I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, but, you know, still got to be, I mean, he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah.
And now it's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, where a lot of people definitely look up to him, and he is setting a very, very bad example. He is being selfish. He's not being a team player at all. And he got away with it scot-free, which is the thing that I think I have the most problem with.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a lot of valid points, and it's really not easy to defend Rodgers, but I'm going to try and do this anyway because I'm kind of a fangirl for him. I'll be honest, being an Aaron Rodgers fan over these past, I don't know, a little bit more than a year has been really rough because he'll say some great things. He'll say, oh, you should read more books. And I go, yeah, reading books, this is my quarterback. And then he'll say, but read Ayn Rand. He'll say, I'm immunized. Yeah, that's my quarterback. That's the quarterback that I want to follow. And he says, I'm immunized by eating clay instead of, a vaccine. But despite all of this, despite him filming advertisements and other stuff when he wasn't supposed to due to the league's COVID protocol. Despite all of this, he's just too good of a passer, I think. That the way he throws the ball, I mean, I don't care if he was, if he was voting for Mussolini or whatever. The way he throws the ball, there's no way that you can say that anyone is better and that anyone gives any team a better chance to win here in 2022 than Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I still think that Aaron Rodgers is very clearly still in his A game. Maybe not in his prime, but still in his A game. Yeah. He's still one of the top quarterbacks in the league, no questions asked. I really don't think that being the best quarterback in the league is a good enough reason to excuse being such a piece of filth. He's just not a good person.
No.
The way that he has treated people, the way that things have happened, and the way that he just kind of reaps the benefits of being the NFL's star child thing is ridiculous. And it makes me so angry to see him getting this special baby treatment. It's he's on God's team already. Why don't we just let the NFL take care of everything?
Hang on. You are just kind of peddling the narrative that the national media gets wrong about the Packers all the time. You're saying that he's selfish and that he's, and he may be selfish. Sure, he hasn't talked to his parents in more than a decade, and I mean, he's got the right to do that. But you're saying the stuff that Greg Jennings goes on NFL Network and says, or Jermichael Finley, both teammates of Rodgers that he hasn't got along with. But the overwhelming majority of Rodgers' teammates, even through all the drama with the contracts and the COVID and the having Ayn Rand on his bookshelf during a Monday Night Football live shot, all of that, all of his teammates, they constantly stand by him. They say he loves Green Bay, he loves the Packers, and that he wants to be here and he wants to be a leader. Through the whole drafting Jordan Love saga, everything, they all stand by him. That's a real, I think that shows a lot of character,
I won't disagree that it shows character. I'm also realizing that every time you make a point, I'm not disagreeing with you, and then I'm just immediately disagreeing with you. But when we talk about this, we're talking about people that are on his team, right?
Right.
And that's all well and good. And this is getting a little bit off topic, but again, I really just don't have a very good opinion of Aaron Rodgers, so I feel like talking about it anyway. So, Aaron Rodgers shows that he's, kind of a little bit pissed off with what's going on in the Packers. He's just not a fan of what's going on. He doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. He has all these demands, and then he starts looking around at other teams, and then all of a sudden the Packers offer him even more money. Who would have guessed? It's he really, that move right there really seemed to be the most selfish thing for me personally, seeing that from Aaron Rodgers, because he's already the highest paid quarterback in the league.
You think it's wrong for him to try and get paid?
I know the rich get richer, but my opinions on rich getting richer are also, I'm not a huge fan of that. He's already a multi-millionaire that's in brand deals. He's making millions of dollars from things outside of the NFL. Why does it matter if he's getting paid an extra $5 million?
Well, see, the thing about this, our personal opinions on economics are one thing, but sports economics are completely different. And if you're that much better, if you're won 2 straight MVPs, 4 total, 1 behind Peyton Manning for the most all time, then I think you deserve to be paid that much more than everybody else.
Now, if you will, while we're on the topic of money, there's one other thing I'd like to bring up about this whole ordeal with the COVID protocols and the way Aaron Rodgers lied to everyone. One of the things that I saw right here is, this is just a quote. Rodgers will pay $14,650 for breaking COVID-19 protocols. Though the NFL was aware of his unvaccinated status, he spoke to reporters without a mask multiple times. He also attended a Halloween party despite the rule that unvaccinated players can't gather with more than 3 teammates outside of a team facility. His team, the Green Bay Packers, will have to pay $300,000 for not disciplining him or reporting his violations. Now, remember that number there right at the beginning?
Yeah.
$14,650? It's a lot of money,
It's
right?
more than my car.
It's a lot of money. Now, let me ask you, how much does a player get charged for roughing the passer?
Ooh, I don't know it off the top of my head. I think it must be more than that, right?
$15,450. Aaron Rodgers is paying less because he lied to the NFL and didn't say anything about his vaccination status, and they charged the Green Bay Packers, another multi-billion-dollar organization, $300,000. Like, that's basically walking up to these people and being like, hey, give me your wrist. It's like going like this. Hey, don't do that. And then that's literally it. Like, there is clearly no discipline amongst the NFL, and the fact that they're babying Aaron Rodgers like this, it does absolutely nothing. He's not going to be able to change from this. He's still going to have the exact same mentality walking into this next season, that he's better than everyone, the rules don't apply to him, he's going to do whatever he wants. And honestly, he's just going to keep being... Aaron Rodgers is a very arrogant person, especially now, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And that is not going to stop based on the way that this last season went.
Right. And you're not wrong, but you're kind of missing the point here. Because you're saying, Aaron Rodgers is not good. He's, and you're right. There isn't, and, all the stuff about the roughing the passer. I probably sound really eloquent with all this jumping back and forth. I'm just trying to find my point.
It's all good.
But, and you're not wrong, but you're missing the point, because the point is, does his on-the-field production, does the way that he throws the football, unlike any other man that's ever lived, does that excuse that? I think it does. I'm sorry. I mean, look, if we're going to talk about all the bad things that football players have done, Rodgers, he's on that list, obviously, but he's not even in the top 20 when you've got guys like Ray Rice, all the problems that the NFL has had with domestic violence issues, and we're going to talk about a guy, being selfish, not talking to his parents, and breaking a couple protocols. No matter how bad it is to break those protocols, especially during a time of pandemic, nobody's arguing with that, and I was completely upset when he did it, but I don't think it detracts that much from how great he is at throwing the ball.
So this is going to kind of go back to the idea that I was kind of talking about earlier, where it's more along the lines of the example that he's setting. And I feel like if the NFL, as an entire organization, wants to try to withhold or maintain some sort of semblance of control over the league, they need to do more. And that's the thing that makes me the most upset, because now, yeah, sure, Aaron Rodgers got away with this, but who's going to be next? Now there are going to be people that are going to keep wanting to push buttons, that are going to want to keep trying to do these things. And the other thing that really concerns me with that example setting is, like I said, there are so many kids that I guarantee look up to him. How many little kids named Billy do you think are off watching TV somewhere and are watching Aaron Rodgers play football, and they're like, I want to be like him one day?
Yeah.
Because that's every kid that watches football. Every kid that likes watching football, that's really interested in football, has some role model, somebody that they base it off of. For me, when I liked football when I was a kid, Brett Favre, all the way. Brett Favre was great. Brett Favre also had some issues, but I was young and naive. Now, that being said, this was a lot more public, and that was a really big deal. COVID being taken seriously was it still is one of the most important things going on in society. And the fact that he's just getting away with it because he, first off, said, oh, I'm allergic to something. that's just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
look at this. This is a quote directly from Aaron Rodgers. At the time, my plan was to say I've been immunized. It wasn't some sort of ruse or lie. I found an immunization protocol that could best protect me and my teammates. And it was a long-term protocol that involved multiple months. Now, that's what he said about it.
Hold on, a quick
Now-
aside. Do you know what that protocol involved? Just for
The only thing that I saw was another quote from a doctor who did know. At least I'm assuming they knew. I have no way of knowing. However, what this doctor said is that what he was referring to was a system or a process that conforms to his pre-existing biases.
Yes.
So the real issue here
And not
is,
only that,
hold on now.
I'm just kind of adding to this. Not only is it that, but he was just eating clay.
He was eating clay.
He was eating dirt.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to talk about the whole relationship that Aaron Rodgers had with Joe Rogan because yikes.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, he uses all of these things, and the doctor that had that quote even said in the article that I was reading that those things that he was doing were something that they could use as a treatment. A treatment is not a vaccine. A treatment is something that you take when you're sick. A vaccine is something you take so you don't get sick. And he literally did nothing to protect his teammates or anybody else around him regarding this. I mean, if he wanted to take it seriously, if he wanted to stay unvaccinated, would have been fine. But he's going out without masks on. He's going out, or he's like competing. He's not listening to the rules that the NFL and the Packers have in place about this kind of stuff. I think that's ridiculous.
It is pretty ridiculous. And it's even more ridiculous when, you always hear these football players say, oh, the most important thing in the world is on Sunday. We have to win on Sunday. Nothing else matters. Family doesn't matter. Nothing matters except winning on Sunday. But, he wasn't there on Sunday, and he lost a very winnable game against the Chiefs. Well, he didn't lose it, but Jordan Love, and it's not all on Jordan Love, but Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers.
It's not all on Jordan Love. It's all on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it
because
is.
Aaron Rodgers was the one that lied about being vaccinated.
Yeah, it is all on Aaron Rodgers, but doesn't it also just show you how important he is to the NFL, how important he is to God's favorite team, the Green Bay Packers?
I am going to hesitate to disagree with you. I will say this was Jordan Love's first NFL game.
Yeah, after
So,
sitting on the bench for the
You
better
do
part of
need to
2
give
years.
him a little bit of leeway for that. You can't really give him too much of a hard time because at the end of the day, I mean, that's probably going to be everybody's first game in the NFL. They're not just going to immediately be perfect. I mean, Aaron Rodgers wasn't.
No.
So, I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it looks like we'll have to leave it there and wrap up the show, but good debate, man.
Good debate.
You want to stick around for the paper toss?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, here,
I've never
take-
done this before.
Take those.
Okay.
Well, I've done all the damage I can do here. To find more episodes of BluNation and other great TV10 content, visit us at mytv10.uwec.edu. For the rest of us here in the studio and Joel Conte, I'm Noah Schwartz. Good night, everybody.
Oh, you just throw them.
Yeah, we just
I
throw
thought you
'em
were
out.
supposed to like.
No, well, I've got more than one, so I just...
Okay, fair enough.